Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Uncaged. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me today, as always, by my side is my man, DC Daniel Crimmins. Daniel, how you doing tonight?
Living the flippin' dream. Ready to talk some Pepsi Phil. And of course, we are not alone.
Nope.
We've got our main man, the dead man of RWT, the one, the only, Mr. Paul Morales. How are you?
God damn, what an introduction. God, you know what?
What I do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But hey, you know what? I'm always getting love from y'all guys. And not like that kind of love, but I'm always getting love, you know.
Hell yeah. You could check out Paul, Dan, and I doing our thing on the weekly.
Not even Paul Heyman does intros like me.
No, not
right?
at all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much.
Well, Paul, we appreciate you coming on with us for this special episode as we wind down on Season 5. But this one is a special episode, folks, because Tell Us When We're Telling Lies. It is one that we've been wanting to do for a while, but now that we're back in the saddle, it is CM Punk's AEW run from 2021 to 2023. A lot to really dive into, but I think the best place to start first before we even get into that debut on Rampage. Before this, CM Punk was on WWE's Backstage on Fox, where, if you change the questions, I changed the culture. He was doing that for a little bit, for a short period of time before the show got canceled. So I think we'll start it off there. And Paul, we'll start with you on this one, my friend. Before he even gets into AEW, CM Punk is on WWE Backstage with the likes of Paige, with the likes of Renee Young, Samoa Joe, and so many great people on the panel. Your thoughts on CM Punk's WWE Backstage before he got to AEW?
I thought it gave him a platform just to be himself rather than, this superstar that we see in the ring. I think it kind of got him to break a little bit of character, kind of give a little bit more of an insight from his eyes, of everything that was going on in WWE. And, I think it's kind of it was a different version of what we're going to see on Netflix from that show Unreal. So, and you could even hear it like from Samoa Joe and Renee Paquette, which is, and Paige, we got to hear their views of everything that was going on and, the interviews that they did. So him kind of being in that different setting, I think it kind of took us back to the times where he was, on the commentary desk, kind of giving his view of everything that was going on, so it was a different Phil Brooks.
I think the best part about it is he had to catch up on the product because he hadn't watched, and he's like, yeah, this sucks, that sucks. And he was very real and very blunt about it, which is why I loved it. And I mean, Daniel, let's go get your thoughts on CM Punk on WWE Backstage before the AEW run.
I think this was the beginning of him coming back. I think it kind of reignited his interest in wrestling. And I mean, who knows? Maybe he was angling to get back in WWE. Maybe not, because Vince was still in power.
Yes.
And it was said that Vince didn't want him even doing this.
Fox did.
But Fox is like, no, we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We pay you. This is our show. He doesn't work for you. He works for us. And then Vince, kind of did what Vince did and, took his ball and went home. He lost his smile.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, and I'll even say this to you guys, I mean, like you mentioned, like after this, he would do like the Starcast, and I remember him being interviewed by Mike Johnson, the PW Insider, and this was at a time where he's telling him about Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins getting married and taking breaks, and you see CM Punk's face like, really? Like they're doing that now? Like stuff like that, and you're thinking, okay, maybe there's a possible WWE future here. Him and Seth Rollins, everybody was talking about because of their exchange. But then again, this was also around the time of Go Suck a Blood Money covered Dick Miz. So that didn't help his cause, which he has since apologized for at this last event. But I mean, yeah, there was a lot of talk of him. Maybe we're going to see him back in the WWE ring again. We don't know. But then AEW comes calling, and then you hear the rumors that he's going over to AEW. And then that fateful night in Chicago on Rampage, the Cult of Personality plays. People are losing their minds. That one dude is crying. Tears of joy stream down his face. and he's just so happy, and he cuts that infamous promo. You know, I was.
And that same dude was also in Survivor Series.
Oh my God! Yes, that's right. Okay,
It was the same dude.
Thank you. And just
you have. Sorry to interrupt, Mike, but you've got Brock Lesnar guy.
Yes.
You have CM Punk guy.
That you do, and that became so legendary, that face on that night at Rampage, and just he's crying, he cuts the promo, talk about I was sick, and you guys, I'm back here, and I'm here to face the best, and then he called out Darby Allin, and you see the face-to-face between those two. It was one of the loudest pops ever in the history of AEW for the arrival of CM Punk. So, Dan, we'll start with you on this one. The debut of CM Punk on Rampage, and one of Rampage's highest viewed shows on AEW.
Just as an aside, how are their ratings lately?
Oh, geez, Louise. Oh, he's going to go there. Okay. Well, I will say this.
But I digress.
Dynamite did beat a NXT by 2,000 viewers this week. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. Go ahead.
Okay,
and yes.
You know, here's the thing. I didn't think it was ever going to happen. Like, you know, Punk had basically said over the years that, you know, he was done. Like, and I thought, oh, maybe he's coming out and he's just gonna, you know, say a quick couple words. Maybe he'll do like a special referee thing or commentary, you know. But then when he's like, he's coming to wrestle, it's like, oh. But then it's thinking he's 10 years older. It's, oh.
Yeah.
And folks, when you start getting older, things don't heal the way they used to.
No.
You sleep wrong? Oh boy, you're gonna be feeling it the next fucking day.
Yes.
Or should I say days?
Yes, sir.
So what are you trying to say? We're old?
Yeah, what are you trying to say there?
Well, me and Paul are old. Mike, you still got a couple years.
I'm on the back nine. To quote Nick Swardson and Click, I'm on the back nine.
So, you know, I was kind of surprised, but I mean, it's what I've been thinking for a while was that Punk really wanted to get back in the WWE, you know, in the way that it ended. But I think Vince made it very clear, no. You know, after that podcast that he did with Colt Cabana, I think Vince was just like, absolutely not.
No. And I mean, you even hear the rumblings at the time, like even before that, like someone in WWE was asked about CM Punk coming back and about the status there. He's like, well, that's AEW's problem now. Like it was that bad that when you ask somebody at WWE and he's like, well, that's their problem now. And we'll get to that problem in a sec. But it was like
even beyond that, Mike.
Yeah.
And I just remember somebody saying, while Vince McMahon has a say in things, Punk will never be back.
Oh yeah, it was that detrimental, and I mean,
a couple of years later.
Hey now. So Paul, I'll even ask you now that pop, that promo, and we'll get into the Darby match in a second. But your thoughts on the arrival of CM Punk in AEW?
No, actually, I'm going to say two things first because two people that you forgot were when you started mentioning people of, you know, about a CM Punk guy and I forgot who else you mentioned. Yeah, Brock Lesnar guy. But you forgot about Ms. Girl.
Oh, that too, yes.
You forgot about the guy that was all shocked when the Undertaker lost.
That guy too, yep.
Yeah, see, so you guys
shocked Undertaker guy.
The shocked Undertaker guy. You guys forgot those, man.
Hey,
whatever happened to these people? Like, I want to know.
I want to know
where Ms. Girl is at.
Me too. I don't know, but she was
great. I think of all of them, I want to know where Ms. Girl is at. That's all. That's it. Just Ms. Girl.
There was an interview I saw with her a while back. You know, and she's, you know, since grown up, she said she still watches wrestling, and they said, "Can you still do the face?" She busted out laughing, and she's like, "Well, let me see," and she did it. Like she did it perfectly. She still has it.
It's so iconic. Like those.
She's like, I didn't realize it was a thing until like the next day at school.
And everybody was like, "Hey, can you do the face?"
Exactly. Well, it's like that's the only thing that she's known for. From like as soon as she got to school, it was like, "Can you do the face? Can you do the face?" Anyway,
it was like shocked Undertaker guys. Even said like, "I'm shocked Undertaker guy."
Hold on.
But to be fair, that was all of us. That was literally all of us. Like, and Mike, and I've told Mike this story. My dad and I, we watched that match, and would see the F5, and you just think, okay, yeah, Taker's gonna kick out. You hear 1, 2, and you're like, okay, here it goes, and then you hear 3.
Yep, and then the jaws drop.
And I remember, my dad and I just looked at each other, and I think I remember saying, did that just happen? Like,
I was beyond.
Did
mad.
somebody
I was
make a
so
mistake?
beyond mad. I was like, of all the damn people,
Brock Lesnar.
Should have been Bray.
Vince, of all damn people, it shouldn't have been Roman. It shouldn't have been Brock. It should have been Bray Wyatt. And we all know that to the end of time, we all know that it should have been Bray Wyatt. We could sit here and debate.
Yeah, I know
we can debate it till we're blue in the face.
And I know Mike and I talked about this. I said what they should have done with Mania 30, flip the matches. Have Cena go against Brock, have Bray go up against Taker, and have Bray win it.
Oh, agreed. That's
you have Taker go for the tombstone. Bray gets out of it, turns it into Sister Abigail. 1, 2, 3. And there was an interview with Taker from not long ago. He's even said, still to this day, over 10 years later, he still doesn't remember that match at all.
Yeah, and that's
he remembers getting to the arena and setting his gear down. That's it.
That's it.
Okay, so back to CM Punk's. We'll go back to CM Punk. The loudest pop in AEW. I mean, literally, hands down, probably the loudest pop. I think the ones that come close were just recently. We got to see Hangman Page win back the AEW World Championship. We got to see Timeless Tony Storm. That pop was huge. I think Saraya in London and All In.
Yeah,
I think that was a loud pop. But as far as or even Will Ospreay was a loud pop in London too. So I'm not gonna say, but really top of them all, it was most definitely CM Punk coming into AEW. And yeah, I'll go off of what DC said. Yeah, getting older sucks, and then you start to feel everything, which is I'm pretty sure when getting 10 years older, it's like riding a bike 10 years later. Yeah, you may know how to ride it, but you ride it for any lengthy period of time, I guarantee you, your thighs are going to hurt. Your legs are going, your entire legs are going to hurt. Your calves, your shins, your hips, and you're just taking it easy going down the street. You're only going maybe a half a mile, maybe a mile down the road. Coming back, I guarantee you the next day you're over there with Ben Gay rubbing them on your legs and on your thighs, But Phil may not have been in the best of shape when he got to AEW, but I think in his mind, I can still go. In his mind, he wanted to, with the energy of the crowd, with everything that he was getting from them, I think hands down, he was like, I can do this. I can still do this. Mindset says yes. Body says, hit the brakes.
Pump the brakes.
And then he had a couple things break down on him.
Oh, did he? And I mean, goddamn.
The problem though with that, and he said it in his promo. He said, "I'm not the CM Punk I was 10 years ago." The problem with that was he tried to wrestle as if he was.
Yep.
As if he basically walked out of WWE, walked into AEW the next day. And he got to realize, and I think part of it, the expectations on him were so insanely high. I would liken it to, Ozzy Osbourne's recent show. He hadn't been performed live for a number of years, and then people are like, wait a minute, this is it, this is what we're getting. Well, take a look at the background here, and it's with Punk. He hadn't wrestled since, I think, was it January of 2014?
Yes.
So we're talking like 7-8 years.
Yeah, his last appearance was the Royal Rumble 2014.
And how physical did he really even get in that match?
I mean, he did manage to get a concussion after a little bit into the match, and then he got
Kane.
Yep, chokeslam by Kane.
I honestly think he should have went the Sting route. I honestly think he should have went the Sting route, been in a tag team, got his footing under him, where he didn't need to do very much of anything, other than being in the tag team, tagging in, maybe he can get the hot tags like Sting used to, every once in a while. Yeah, Sting did the whole high flying thing and, jumping off of up on off of the rails and jumping off of the top rope, or flying through tables, taking table bumps. I think had Phil come back like that, we're still going to get the pop. We're still going to get the energy from the crowd with him being in a tag team. Am I wrong?
No, not at all.
If he was the one that was in a tag team with somebody, I don't pick somebody. It doesn't matter. If you pick somebody and you're in a tag team, guess who you're going against? You're going against the Young Bucks. You can go against Kenny Omega, and Kota, and Hangman Adam Page, and still go against these guys. He could have had a match against Sting and Darby Allin.
That's the thing too, and I mean, I look at it like this. If you look at his last little WWE run, like most of the feuds, it was him and Daniel Bryan against the Wyatt family, or him against the Shield, and he didn't really have one-on-one feuds. It was mostly like tag teams, and I mean, I agree. I think that would have been the way to go, but the whole dream match scenario that Tony Khan had in his head was that everybody wanted to see was him versus Darby Allin, which
part of the thing here, and it was the same bullshit problem that Punk encountered with the UFC.
Oh God, yeah.
It was banking on his name. I'm gonna say it. Nobody gives a shit about Phil Brooks. People care about CM Punk.
Oh yeah, if you remember him going against Mickey Gall and Mike the Chief Jackson, it was like nuts.
Yeah, but you know what? He did this whole UFC thing, and he was doing that, and I think in our mind, let me ask you in all honesty.
Yeah.
How much cardio do you think he actually did? We'll say 6 months prior to him going to AEW.
Oh God, I don't think that much. If I'm being completely honest with what we saw, I don't think that much.
Well,
now, how much cardio do you see him doing now?
A lot more. Ever since he's been back to WWE, he's a lot more.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the point that I'm trying to make, though, is it's like the UFC cashed in on that name, on the CM Punk name. AEW, same thing. It's like, okay, we got CM Punk. People are going to buy this just because it's CM Punk. It was the same thing when TNA first signed Sting all those years ago.
Oh my God, in like early 2000s, yep.
And I remember like
2004
or 5?
2003, 2004, then he was mainstay in 05.
So I remember when I was young, my early 20s, when I was late teens, early 20s. I remember my dad had suggested, hey, I hear Sting's going to be in this TNA show. Let's order it. Yes, folks, back then you had to order pay-per-views. You didn't have a streaming app. You didn't have a Peacock or, Amazon Prime. You actually had to order it through your cable TV. You had to go to the channel and press the button and then confirm, enter in a little code. That's how we did it back in the day.
See, Michael, DC's just trying to say we're old.
Well, yeah, that too. I remember ordering 92, 93, even for TNA pay-per-views that were $9.95 every Wednesday. Come on now.
I mean, honestly, some of those early TNA shows were incredible.
Oh, agreed wholeheartedly.
Now, and I remember that. I can't remember who he was in the match with.
I think it was him and Jeff Jarrett against some team. I forgot who the tag team was.
Was it AMW?
Might have been. I don't recall, but I think that
all I remember from that pay-per-view was Samoa Joe versus Styles versus Daniels.
Oh, it was Unbreakable 05. Yep.
Unbreakable 05.
And
I know we reviewed it.
First time I'd ever seen that. Seen those three. Like, I actually remember AJ from WCW with a team of Air Paris.
Oh my goodness, taking it
and
back.
The worst part is that match wasn't even the fucking closing match of that damn pay-per-view.
Nope.
It was Raven
and Rhino.
And Rhino, yeah. I was trying to think of his damn name.
Was that the one where Rhino won the title?
Yes. Oh no, that was the one before that, and then it was Raven and Rhino. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was the closing match, and the match that was most memorable was Styles, Daniels, and freaking Samoa Joe.
And it was a similar thing though. Like you cash in on that name while the iron is hot. It's business. It is smart business. Like, Tony signing Punk, good business. And there are going to be people that are going to, buy the pay-per-view just because they're going to say, hey, wait a minute, CM Punk's wrestling again? I got to check this out. And you leverage that against, well, hey, we're going to put Punk on the show, but let's show people what else we have so that they see all this other great wrestling and they think, hey, I got to check this out. I got to, watch this more.
Well, the thing, too, is, first of all, as I was looking this up, yes, Raven and Rhino had the Ravens Rules match for the NWA World title.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and then they actually did close with Styles, Daniels, and Joe. So, yes, you're correct on that. So
that was a great match.
It was amazing. And, I mean, I look at it like this. With CM Punk and Darby Allin, as we get into that match now from All Out 2021, I think for this match being his first debut match, I think it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a spectacle with CM Punk getting the win with the GTS. But for what we had, I think it was fine. And this also highlighted Darby to that next level, and they both shook hands afterwards. For me, I think for his debut to be against a young Gohard and Darby Allin, to really put him in that spot, really shows the trust that they had in Darby. So, Paul, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts on CM Punk's debut pay-per-view match against Darby Allin and him getting the win?
I think it was a safe choice. I think Darby did everything he could and took every single bump that he could for CM Punk. And it was a really, really good match. It was very entertaining. I mean, now granted, you could see the ring rust for CM Punk, but still at the end of the day, it was still a good match. It was you had Darby Allin, who sold like crazy for CM Punk, somebody who he admires. And it gave them one of the biggest pops of the night, and it was entertaining as hell. Elevated. I agree. Elevated Darby into is literally what the match was for to elevate him, to show him to people who may not be regular AEW watchers. So to me, it was great.
Right. And I mean, you have one of the heroes, one of the pillars, if you will, of what AEW would become. And then you bring in CM Punk to work with him. And that's what Punk was always about, is working with the young guys. And I mean, Dan, I'll flip it over to you, man. Talk about him working with the young guy and Darby Allin. And then boom, we get this matchup that we get to see from All Out that a lot of people even still talk about to this day.
I think the Darby match, like Paul said, Darby was the smartest choice available. You want someone that, I don't want to say carry, but protect. He's somebody that, you want to bring them in. He's not going to make Punk look weak, not make him look bad. You look at other people that could have, Kenny probably could have. there are some people that probably could have given him a good match, for his first match back. But if you want someone that is the best option, Darby. Darby was the perfect choice.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I mean, I look at it from a stance like this. So you go from Darby Allin, and what we really capitalized off of that, what we get to see with CM Punk is at this time around in 2021, WWE still was coming off the pandemic era stuff, and their program was a bit subpar to what we would see with AEW at the time. And then we go from this with CM Punk, the excitement of seeing him on Dynamite and pay-per-views, and then we go to Full Gear where he's wrestling Eddie Kingston. And what everybody talks about with that match with Eddie Kingston is, first off, the fact that he absolutely mollywops him with the spinning back fist in the beginning. But before we even get to the match, they had this great promo on Rampage that built up to this match. And holy hell, I'm talking about nobody wants you here in this locker room. Everybody's scared to say it, leave, get out, and then quit. I love Eddie Kingston's raw passion to this because these two had a history and they brought it all out from the indies, including the Amazing Red and Bryan Danielson and all these people that were around them, including Homicide. So you have that tension, that broiled tension that goes into this match, and they didn't disappoint. So, Paul, I'll start with you. Let's talk about the promo that we have with Eddie Kingston and then the match in itself in Full Gear. Go ahead.
The one thing about Eddie Kingston is that he will go raw.
Oh yeah,
and he will speak his mind from the heart and literally bash whoever you need to in order to get the crowd into it. And it may have been real. It may have been very real to him. And to say everything to CM Punk, it was great. It was, dare I say, phenomenal, but it was genuine, real, raw, and I have to say it literally took me. That's what drew me into this match. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I mean, literally, it made me invest even more into everything that Eddie was saying and what was going to transpire eventually.
Right, and that's the thing too. When you look at someone like a CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, like you mentioned, like he's very raw, he's very passionate. The New Yorker came out in him where he's talking about, why was that fat? I didn't kiss ass because I wasn't friends with the booker. So he went in there, and like you mentioned, with going into the match, Paul, this is one of those matches where it just felt like, okay, we're gonna knock him out with the spinning back fist first. Every that pop he got, and CM Punk would ultimately get the win. But this was something where it also, like, it highlighted Darby Allin. It really highlighted Eddie Kingston, who had just come off that great feud with Jon Moxley for the world title during the pandemic era. They saw something from jump with Eddie Kingston. And Dan has mentioned, I'll go to Dan next, him being the Mick Foley of AEW. So I concur with you, man. This match was nothing but spectacular, and it heightened up with this promo what we would get. So I'll go over to Mr. Daniel Crimmins now. Dan, your thoughts on this promo exchange and the match itself at Full Gear?
The best promos are not car promos. The best promos are the ones, and the best storylines are the ones where you think, well, wait a minute, there's, like, is there something going on here? Like, when you think, are we seeing something that are we hearing things that we shouldn't necessarily know? And was there maybe some truth to what Eddie said? Absolutely. I definitely think there was. He's like, Mike, it's that New Yorker.
It's that New Yorker.
If we don't like you,
we'll tell you.
Or if we won't tell you, we'll just, not do business with you.
Very much so.
And
see, but you guys like me, so y'all do.
Yeah, first of all, no, it's.
Wait a minute, Mike didn't just flat out say yes. He just like, well,
Yeah, all right. I see you, Michael.
Well,
I see your native New Yorker coming out in you.
Well, as long as it's not Queens, you know how we feel about Queens. We don't claim
or Staten Island. We don't
claim those two, and I have people in both. But goddamn, anyway, I digress. But that's the beautiful part. Go ahead, Dan.
To get back to it, it kind of got Eddie Kingston over to a lot more people. Match 2, but of all the people on the shelf in wrestling between AEW, WWE, wherever. God, I cannot wait till Eddie Kingston comes back.
Oh, agreed. It's a missing ingredient of what we got with him with the Continental Classic and stuff with Okada, which I'm sure they're going to go back to when he gets back. Like,
And
he's one of the
I'll say it. Had he not gotten hurt or had he come back earlier, I would have had him be the one to beat Mox.
Oh, with their history, absolutely.
Definitely.
So, with the history of Eddie Kingston in these two matches that elevated both his opponents and him, then we get to the match and the feud that everybody talked about was one of the peak moments of his AEW career. The feud with MJF. Just MJF kicking him in the nuts, CM Punk bringing up the photo and talking about, just everything that went into that. You're just a stand of mine with the picture hanging above the wall. Well, what everybody talks about, besides the fact of main eventing a buy one, get one free, which that promo did not age very well after he got that promo. But the promo that everybody talks about is he's just a less famous Miz. That face-to-face and him calling him PG Punk. This was the best feud that he had, and I'll say it right now, the best feud he has had in AEW. So, Dan, I'll start with you because we'll get our thoughts on the Long Islander, the New Yorker. MJF, who was doing his thing at the time, really elevating himself from his inception in 2019 at day one or in AEW to here. Your thoughts on the CM Punk MJF feud, and before we get to the dog collar match, your thoughts on the promos leading up to it.
I will say one of the most underrated feuds in AEW history.
Oh my God, yeah.
MJF is one of those guys who we know he's good, but I think, 20, 30 years down the line, similar to how, now we talk about guys like, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Harley Race, people back in the 80s. Notice I don't mention golden era WWF because honestly, Hulk Hogan couldn't cut a promo to save his damn life.
Hulk Hogan. Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Load the rocket ship.
Tear down the cockpit door. Hulk Hogan.
So,
Fuck
I think
Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah, him and his real American beer.
First of all, I would just like to say on a side note, since we'll talk about it more on the weekly review when we do it this week, but out of all the ways to get tickets for his Real American Freestyle Wrestling from 380 to like 400 plus now, they did announce that Kurt Angle will be on commentary. Oh boy. No Kurt. No Kurt. No Kurt. Go ahead.
I think, MJF is going to be one of those guys who, years and years down the line, people will study his work, his ring work, his promos as being one of the top talkers. Mick Foley, great talker. Mick wanted to do something with MJF.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to sign with AEW just to work with MJF, but he got a concussion, and his doctor's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Dean Ambrose feud that we were going to get, but then his doctor was like, Mick, you're not wrestling.
And also Dean/Mox took it way too far.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't talk about the man's family.
And it took Mick and the office saying, dude,
cut the fucking shit.
Knock it off.
Knock it the fuck off.
Yeah, you don't talk about Noelle like that because she's gorgeous.
That is true, very much so. We're a little dewy.
I thought we were gonna keep going.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, wait a minute.
I was waiting for DC to keep going.
That's what I thought. I was like, wait a minute.
Great talker though, and like that feud. Again, I'll say it again. One of the best AEW feuds in their history.
Okay, and now we will move over to Paul. Your thoughts on the MJF, the dichotomy of less famous Miz, PG Punk. You're going to main event a buy one, get one free. The promo that really didn't age too well after that. Go ahead.
Hey, Punk, how was Vegas?
Hey now.
Okay, so here's the best way to kind of put this in a nutshell.
Sure.
You look at MJF and literally, and I'm gonna say this, up to date, that is literally the best feud he has ever had.
Right.
I don't think anybody since then. I don't think Hangman. I don't think what he said about Darby Allin. I don't think what he said about Kenny Omega. I don't think any of it pales in comparison to anything he did with CM Punk. And now, mind you, we're only talking about what, 6 months?
Yeah.
With CM Punk. But still, that solidified MJF for who he is today. We can debate it, but I can tell you point blank, at least in my view, that literally set Max on a different platform than above everybody else in AEW. Truly, I think if you wanted MJF to be that face of AEW, he should be right now. He should literally be the face of AEW as their top heel. And Darby Allin and Hangman Adam Page should be like 1 and 2 as your top baby faces.
Oh, I agree, especially with what they're doing now. Since he's got the title match in the future, I definitely see him doing a thing where Darby Allin could win the title, and then MJF immediately cashes in on Darby to go back to that feud, because that's the two pillars right there. And like you mentioned, Hangman being one of the top baby faces at this time.
I was going to say, but you could also look at what he did, the body of work, the promos, but the body of work that Phil brought out in Max. Mm-hmm. We know, we as the lovers of wrestling, as much as we love wrestling, you can see how genuine, and I think it was more so Phil took this as an opportunity to cut promos with somebody who he probably felt was on his level. And then what they did was, it wasn't, outstanding, great, 5-star. Sorry about saying it like that, but at least
always coming up.
At least I didn't say it like that. But I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, if we were rating it as far as like as a star rating, I don't think we would give any of their matches a 5-star rating, even the almost 40-minute match that they had,
Oh yeah, I mean,
in my mind, I just think this was the opportunity for us to see MJF in a different light, especially going one-on-one with one of the great promo guys in wrestling history.
And I mean, to add on to your point, like MJF around this time, like I like the feud with Moxley for the title. Him and Jericho could fuck off. The Winner Circle and Pinnacle feud. I mean, for me, this was MJF really going back to the MJF that we know. And this dog collar match, how they amplified it, much like Piper and Valentine from the 80s, and how, Brody Lee and Cody Rhodes from that particular time for the TNT title. This led on every expectation. There was blood. As CM Punk came out to, oh God, what the hell was the name of that song? Mysteria Cantare from Ring of Honor. He dressed like Ring of Honor 2003 with his feud with Raven around that time. But I mean, like, they amplified everything so well. It amplified the feud with Wardlow, where Wardlow turned on MJF. So there was a lot of mixed bags within the story. But I mean, I think that match will go down as one of his best ones in AEW, and it was just pure magic from start to finish. I mean, I think you guys can agree with the dog collar, one of probably CM Punk's best matches in his AEW run.
I mean, we can arguably say that the reason why a lot of it didn't work out was because of fucking TK. So,
oh yeah, we're gonna get to that, but
I'll pay you.
Well,
sorry, DC, go for it.
Okay.
I would even say, the dog collar match, one of Punk's best matches since even coming back to wrestling. And I'm going to include all the WWE stuff he's done since he's been back there.
Right.
I don't know. Him and Drew was pretty good.
That was my thing. Like, I think 1 and 2 since he's been back was the MJF dog collar and the Drew McIntyre Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, that's exactly the one I was thinking of. Was that Hell in a Cell was probably my favorite since he's been back.
So, speaking of favorites, Tony Khan, I'll pay you.
I'll pay you. Yeah.
was CM Punk's favorite, and he had hurt in his soul when he had to fire him, which we'll get into, and fear for his life. So he goes from having these great matches. We're starting it off hot because this run really showcased the people he was elevating in the stories, but then he gets hurt because he, like a dumbass, he jumps off the apron. And he's going into Forbidden Door against Hiroshi Tanahashi. But first, before we get to that even injury, Hangman Page, God almighty. So Hangman Page is the AEW World Champion. And I just wanted to mention briefly that he got hurt like a dumbass, and we'll tie it in together. The promos there, y'all have seen it. And honestly, we didn't even know that was the start of this anger. But he does the promo about workers' rights, and they're having the face-off in the ring, and you can tell CM Punk is furious when he's going on this promo, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes into the back and whatnot, and we'll tell the story of the drama. But you're watching this, and you're just like, this has nothing to do with the story that they're doing. And mind you, this is before their pay-per-view and their actual match that's going down with All or No, Double or Nothing. But god damn it, man, like, I'm watching this, I'm like, you can tell something's off, but whew. So, Paul, we'll go to you first on this one. CM Punk and Hangman Adam Page's feud, and just days before their infamous match, your thoughts on this promo and Hangman Adam Page going off script. Go.
This was going way off script. This was literally like, it was like, I get, Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston can go raw, real, and tell you to your face a lot of crap. But this was so fucking different. This was just like, the minute you saw, you two know, as soon as you saw CM Punk's face just change from, let's do this promo, to all of a sudden it's like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell is this motherfucker talking about? And what the hell are we doing? And it took exit stage left, behind the bleachers, up over them, concession stand somewhere in Central Park somewhere. Like, you have no idea where the hell this went to. And I can understand why Punk was mad. I can understand why Punk was frustrated. Dude went into business for himself. I like Adam Page, but goddamn, when you do that, it would piss me off.
Yeah, and I mean, the punch at the end, everything was, he even said, like, the punch at the end of that segment, that was supposed to happen. But I'm reading his lips, and he even said on Area 1, I'm reading his lips, and I'm like, this is not what we talked about. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I like you mentioned, I'd be pissed too. You don't go off script like that. And the difference between Eddie Kingston, and I will tell you this, they may not like each other, but I'm sure they fucking talked about what the hell that they were going to say out there. And Eddie Kingston is not known to be, that much of a prick that he goes that off script. He has guidelines and he works with his opponents. But Hangman Adam Page, just because of that goddamn Dave Meltzer, who we'll get into in a second, it went off the rails. And there were two baby faces here. They were both baby faces, and then that just immediately turned Hangman heel. And it's like, what the actual fuck? It was so confusing to watch. Now, Daniel, I'll go over to you. Your thoughts on the promo and Hangman Adam Page going off script?
Well, you got to. Well, let me tell you. We'll talk about this. The promo, you could tell, went off the rails real quick.
Oh yeah.
I think Punk was used to the WWE style where it's very regimented. I will say, since this, AEW has gotten a lot better with that stuff. Like, you don't see a lot of hard left turns. So, not as often as you used to. You used to see it a lot. Having said that, are we saying that Hangman was wrong? No, we're not saying he was wrong. But, something like this, and you could tell Punk was upset. I would be too. Like, if you are set with clear parameters, especially time, and you go over, and again, like a dumbass, you have Punk dive into the crowd and hurts his foot.
Yep. So he wins the world title. He's supposed to go against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Then they had to vacate the title, and with Jon Moxley becoming interim champion at that event. And it just led to an absolute whirlwind. And then here's what pisses off everybody. First and foremost, CM Punk did not want to win that world title. That was Tony Khan's call. CM Punk has gone on record and said, I did not win the world title. Tony wanted me to win. I think if Punk had his way, he would have put over Hangman Page. I honestly think that. And the reason why I equate it to today is because did CM Punk win the world title against John Cena? No. Do I think he's going to win the world title against Gunther? No. I think he's going to put over Gunther and do his damnedest because I think that's going to be really good, and the story they're going to tell is going to be awesome.
We're getting a cash in.
Yeah, that too. And I think we're going to get something that's really cool there. But it's one of those things where it's like he's supposed to have this match with Hiroshi Tanahashi, gets hurt, and here's what I did not like about this. So he then goes into the feud with Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley and him cut their promos talking about being the third wheel in the Shield and the fact that you're just here for the money. And then they get to the match, and it's Rocky 3 all over again. First and foremost, Punk was still hurt with the Adrian! So they do the match, and it's a quick squash, much like Rocky Balboa and Clubber Lang from Rocky 3. But the problem is you find out that he's still hurt, and Tony's like, oh, it's going to be a squash. You know, they don't need to be cleared. I'm like, yeah, you fucking do. I don't care how long he's going to be in the ring. If I'm hurt, you have the risk of hurting it even more. So they do the quick squash, and then Ace Steel comes out and cuts like, what are you doing? Who is this CM Punk? And he's trying to hype him up like he's freaking Mickey. Get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you. And then
get up, you son of a bitch.
And then we get to the match where he does win it back, and he wins the world title again, and then we'll get to Brawl Out. But we'll go into the Moxley stuff now. Your thoughts on the Rocky 3 squash, and then Punk wins it back, and then we get into Brawl Out. So, Paul, I'll start with you first. What were your thoughts on the Moxley feud before we get into the whole thing?
It was horrible. Yeah. I mean, we got some good promos out of it. Don't get me wrong, but oh my God, it was horrible.
It sucked.
Why was he squashed? That was my question.
Well, that's what
this isn't like Brock Lesnar coming out and destroying somebody. This isn't like Mark Henry. This isn't like Mark Henry coming out and destroying somebody. This isn't like The Undertaker coming out and cut and destroying somebody. This is CM Punk coming out squashing Moxley. What the hell was that? It made no sense. I don't understand it. I can understand if again, I mentioned a bunch of dominant guys. I could understand if that was what was going on, or if he was one of those guys, but nah, it just didn't. It just sucked. It made the entire feud suck even more. And I mean, people were angry. I mean, I know people were angry.
We were angry. We talked about it.
We were angry.
We were angry. Like, what the fuck? Like, you don't do that, because it's just like, it made no sense. Because my mindset was, again, CM Punk has even gone on record saying he hated it, but also, and besides the fact that he was still injured, but number two, why do you have this man get squashed and then he's going to win it right back? It's in Chicago. You were not going to have him lose in Chicago, so you're just going to put it right back on him. And then it happened, and my jaw dropped because I was not expecting it. So, Daniel Crimmins, before we even get to Brawl Out, I'm old, I'm tired, and I work with fucking children. Your thoughts on the Moxley feud?
Dog shit.
Dog shit.
Should I say Larry shit?
Larry shit. Oh, and here we are. We're at the moment.
Well, I mean, I get it. Tony likes to do the whole interim champion thing. Well, in UFC, and you do that, if the actual champion is hurt too long, what do? You strip him of the title, and you go to the interim. You just say, okay, interim champion is now the undisputed champion.
Right.
UFC just did it when John Jones decided to be like, bye, because he knew he was going to lose. So instead, he just says, yeah, I quit. I retire. Yeah. Am I still salty over that? You better believe I am. So, I mean, I will say this much. They should have just taken it off off of Punk, because if I remember right, he came back in that match and got hurt even more.
Oh yeah, well he was already hurt, and
well,
and
that's
Tony,
what I mean.
Yeah, and Tony made him wrestle, and it's like, what the fuck?
Tony could have gotten sued over that.
I know
that he could have.
It's things like this which I will never understand. Why they AEW marks, not even the sickos, the fucking marks, excuse this type of behavior. But God forbid if Triple H or Vince had done this. I mean, I'm sure they probably have, but can I think of it offhand? I can't. I'll be honest, I can't. But if they had, let's say you have when you have Cena versus Cody at SummerSlam. If Cena's hurt, you know, it'd be the same thing if Triple H is like, no, I don't care. You're the champion. You're going on.
Right. But they would be like, oh, how could they do that? But with
exactly. They would crucify the WWE. They would crucify TNA. They would crucify any other company. But if it's Tony, oh no.
Well, because he's one of us. Don't you understand? He loves wrestling. I love wrestling.
One of us.
I love wrestling. One of us.
I love wrestling too, but if I knew that DC wasn't able to go out there, if I knew he was injured, and I said, you know what, no, we'll do something else. Hey, you know what, you can go out there. Do you want to just get squashed? Do you want to do something like that as opposed to? Or do you want to just relinquish the title? Would that be easier for you? You're not losing it, but you know what? You can vacate it. Come back. Well, whenever you're healed and done, ready to come back, you can come back, and then we'll do this whole thing again. It's always pressing that reset button. The one that always had the issue with it was Vince McMahon. He's the one that I would always have the issue with. Oh my God! Now what do I do now? He learned it. He learned when Finn Balor was injured. He figured it out when Bray Wyatt was injured, and they had to give up the titles. It made sense for those people to just relinquish the title, come back. Hey, come back healthy, healed. We'll do this again. Restart it again. It's not normal.
Right. And I mean, I don't think it, and I'm going to say this right now, and this may piss the sickos off, and I don't care, but this would not help him with Triple H. Prime example, 2013, Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton have their match on Raw. Daniel Bryan does the tope through the ropes, the suicide dive. Daniel Bryan gets a stinger. They stop the match. And then infamously, Daniel Bryan goes to the back and yells at Triple H, like, I've worked with the stinger on the indies, and you're not going to stop my match. I could keep going. He's like, no. I'm going to protect you to make sure that you don't get hurt so it doesn't get worse. You have a stinger. Shut up. I stopped the match. That was my call. You're not going to wrestle anymore. Perfect. Another example under the Triple H era. Friggin' Carmelo Hayes and Austin Theory, they do that Spanish fly spot, and they both get knocked out. They stop the match. Charlotte Flair, they went right to the finish with her and Asuka when she got hurt. Perfect example at Saturday night's main event. LA Knight, they went right to the finish. Seth Rollins literally said on the thing, called an audible.
But hey, did he? Did he? Look, we can go on that in the weekly review. We'll go off. We'll do that on the weekly review.
Folks, if you want to check out the weekly review, Mike's going to put a link down below. Cheap Pop number 1.
Cheap Plug number 1, yes. We'll go into that.
Technically, that's 2 because Paul started it. So that
is true. Okay,
we're going to say 2.
So we'll go into that on the next show. But the thing, too, is the point being is they would stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would stop it, like, because they want their wrestlers to be safe. Tony wants to jizz in his pants on his lonely island and then let them go because he wants to see what happens. Case in point, Phoenix and John Moxley. You hear John Moxley after he takes the friggin' driver, like, count to 3, Rick Knox. But he had to do it again because that was the finish. But it's just...
I don't know, Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara?
That friggin'... They crucified friggin' Tony for that, letting friggin' Matt just keep going after that. Like, literally, he has a concussion. You could see it in his eyes. Oh, he's cleared. No, he fucking wasn't cleared. Fuck you.
Yeah, I think Rebby had a thing or two to say about all that.
Oh, yeah. It's like, no, I'm with him in the hospital, so shut your punk ass mouth, Tony. God damn it. That was the whole thing rubbed me the wrong way. But then we get to the brawl out, and he's eating the Mindy's Bakery. He's eating the cupcakes. I'm old, I'm tired. I work with fucking children. Colt Cabana has a friggin' bank account with his mom, and he wanted nothing to do with him. And he's just going at Nick Hausman because of that question. And Tony Khan has this look on his face like, oh my God, what do I do? Why is he saying this? Like, Phil, come on, man. I love you. Like, why are you doing this? Like, come on. But the thing, too, is if this was Vince McMahon, they would have shut, and I'm not praising Vince McMahon at all because he's who he is, but he would have not locked this shit down. Like, okay, guys, thank you for coming. And then he probably would have yelled at CM Punk for what he did. And then also Triple H would have even stopped it. That's being a boss. Tony has no idea. He has that look on his face like, I can't believe he's doing this. And then you see Chris Jericho whispering to Tony's ear, which is probably like, hey, there's a situation in the locker room. Do you think Tony would have stopped it? No. Tony has to go friggin', you know what? I have more money than Jim Crockett. I'm not going to sit here and take this fucking shit. That was Tony. Tony had to keep going because it was the greatest night of his fucking life. The whole thing started because the Young Bucks told Dave Meltzer, hey, the reason why Colt Cabana is on Ring of Honor is because of CM Punk, which was not fucking true. And if I'm CM Punk and you're saying this, I'm pissed too. And I'm pissed at Hangman Page for chopping me in the mouth instead of here because of what he heard. And he has to listen to the Young Bucks on the internet and indie bullshit. So I'm pissed off, but I think both sides were wrong on the count of the fact is they had this fight. They had everything go down, and I'm not blaming Kenny Omega. I'm not, after recent events. I'm not blaming Kenny Omega. It's Punk and the Young Bucks. And the problem that I had is it could have been handled so much better, and they're VPs, but both were wrong on their sides, but I understand CM Punk's venom. So we'll start with Paul. Your thoughts on Brawl Out? I'm old, I'm tired, I work with fucking children, and what we got there before we get into anything else.
I have to say, the minute that CM Punk, the minute that he sat at that table in that interview, in that presser, in that media scrum, tell me you didn't see like he was just like, I'm so fucking done with this place. I am so done with everybody that's here, including the guy that's sitting next to me, because I don't need this. Mm-hmm. You know, he could say he's old, you know, he works with children, you know, he's tired, he works with children. Yeah, he could say all that, but at the end of the day, what is the worst part is that guy that was sitting next to him allowed all this shit to happen.
And he just has that look on his face like, I can't believe he's saying this. What do I do? Why is this happening right now? Like, how could you say this, Phil? I love you.
You know, and yeah, you can accommodate somebody. You know, you could do this whole Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon. Oh, I'm gonna accommodate him because you know he was my top star, and you know for so many years. Yeah, you could do all that, but at the end of the day, you're the owner of the company. Mm-hmm. If you don't have any restrictions and you don't have any filter for a lot of the things that are going on in your company, then it may not all be CM Punk's fault. We consider it, and it could be everybody. It could be everybody else who's pretty much angry with him. Now, this is the thing that I wanted to ask you guys too. That it popped in my head earlier.
Sure.
As much as we liked CM Punk, as much as we thought, you know, yes, he was coming back. Yes, he was there. Yes, he was. Did he need to be AEW champion within 1 year, within the first few months of him coming back to AEW or coming into AEW?
No, not at all.
Would you have rather him, hey, you know what? If I'm going to elevate, if I'm coming here to wrestle people, I would much rather wrestle the people. Forget the title belts. The title belts are not necessary, don't need to be held. Or don't need to be won. But hey, let me just gain some experience, get some ring rust off. Let me get some experience with a lot of the people that are here. That would have been a hell of a lot more. That would have been a hell of a better idea for Tony Khan to pitch to CM Punk, as opposed to, hey, you know what? You're going to be here for a couple of months, and hey, we're already going to strap the rocket onto you, and we're going to put you in the championship match, and then we're going to put the title on you. It didn't need to happen.
I'll go on to your point. I think he was still doing that. And the reason why I say that is, too, this is, again, the Tony call. CM Punk's like, okay, I'm going to wrestle Daniel Garcia, which he did on Rampage. I'm going to wrestle Bobby Fish. I'm going to wrestle Max Caster. I'm going to wrestle Pentagon and all these people because he wants to work and help elevate these people and also work these matches. We could have built to the world title match, but it shouldn't have happened the way it did. He was doing what he was doing, which was fine because he was working these people to help elevate them and stuff, and you were getting these matches. But it was to build to later down the line. But Tony was just so enamored with CM Punk that he thought, hey, if we're going to fucking stick it to the WWE and what they're doing, because, fuck WWE, which has been the mindset of AEW, we're the alternative to WWE, we're doing things better. He wanted that name value.
But are they really?
Hold on. But how many world titles has CM Punk won in the almost 2 years that he's been in WWE?
None, because they know how to book him. He knows.
Because they know how to book him. Now, again, back to what I said. DC will tell you the exact same thing. If you didn't need to put him in this situation, had he just continued on to wrestle the guys that he was wrestling, to elevate them and to enjoy what he was doing with them, that would have been perfectly fine.
I mean, Ricky Starks even, like, did the Ricky Starks need to do the real world's champion stuff? I mean, no, not really. If you would have just had him and Ricky Starks just like one-on-one, it would have been fine. It would have been fine. It really didn't need a title, and we'll get to that, but it's just like, he was just so, I've never seen someone so enamored, much like he was with Chris Jericho, so enamored that this happened. And I mean, Dan, I'll let you go on this one. At the end of the day, it all falls on TK, and then we'll go into more stuff with it, but your thoughts on Brawl Out, go ahead.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
I think part of the problem is you got to look at who's actually running the fucking company. It was reported that the Bucks were going to Meltzer on the regular.
Yeah.
And we know they are. And did Tony ever reprimand them?
No.
At least not publicly that we know about. Could he have said, be like, hey, guys, you really shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that.
Look, I got to the point. Oh, my God. Let me add to the point. So the Young Bucks, this actually did come out. That's why I just went out to your point. The Young Bucks, we'll get back to in 6 months. And, they're and friggin' Tony Khan should have been like, no, motherfuckers, we're not going to get back into this. You fucking talk to that man. Because CM Punk wanted to talk to him, and they wanted to do he wanted to do CM Punk of the FTR against the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, make money off of this. But the Young Bucks were gigantic pussies. Diamond Upside Down is a pussy, to quote Ready to Rumble. And they didn't want to talk to him. And that was the issue. I'm sorry.
When that whole media scrum was happening, and you talk about Tony sitting there just like, he's got his water, and he's just like,
Phil, like, come on.
Here's the thing. Here's what you do. You put your hand over his microphone, and you just say, all right, or here's the thing. You just say, all right, ladies and gentlemen, no more questions for Punk right now. Punk will have more to say. You're going to have to tune in to Dynamite to find out. And then when like you said, when Jericho kind of came up to him, immediately Tony should have just said, folks, I hate to cut this short, but there's something that needs my immediate attention. Thank you for coming out. Get home safe. And he should have handled it.
Either that he should have just let whoever was going to come out and talk, let them come out and talk, and then not make sure that they don't discuss what the hell just happened.
Yes, and here's the ultimate thing of it. At the end of the day, to quote President Eisenhower, the buck, no pun intended, the buck stops here, meaning, if you're the CEO, if you own the company, it's on you.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that the buck stops here. Before we get to the whole collision thing, the best was Tony strips them all of their titles. And he doesn't even, it's not even like serious, like, ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances and recent events, The title, CM Punk, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega have been stripped of their titles. We are now going to have a tournament. It's unfortunate that this has to happen, or something serious of that matter. What does Tony do? Hi, I'm Tony Khan. We had a great event at All In, and unfortunately, we have to strip the. And he's not even serious. It's just like, hi, fucking hi, you dumb bitch. So he does.
Hi, I'm Tony.
I'm Tony Khan. And unfortunately, we got to strip him off the title, like, because he can't take anything seriously. So that happens, and then CM Punk comes back on that infamous Collision. And Collision starts, and he cuts the epic promo, and he's the real world's heavyweight champion. And he pretty much calls them the counterfeit Bucks. And it gives us the infamous line, tell me when I'm telling lies. So with that being said, and Punk has said on Ariel Helwani that this was not going to work. He wanted out, and we'll get to that interview. But your guys' thoughts, and Paul, I'll go with you. The counterfeit Bucks, tell me when I'm telling lies. He's the real world's heavyweight champion, and he has the X on it for straight edge. Your thoughts on the CM Punk return on Collision being his show and the infamous promo on the Young Bucks?
God, it was this was the beginning of the if Brawl Out was the beginning, this was the beginning of the end, because nobody wanted this. This would be like Cody and Roman having two different shows, but they hate each other.
Right.
You know, and then they don't want to be around each other. And what you get is that you get this show. That would be John on one show being the champion, Roman on the other being the champion. And it was like, why? Why couldn't you just say, hey, look, let's not separate these shows. Let everybody kind of go here. And it was literally like you had half of the roster on freaking Collision and half of the roster on Dynamite. And That's exactly what it was. I was waiting for the Collision tag team champions, you know, another alternative
the Collision TV title.
The Collision TV title or something like that, you know, something of that nature. You know, it just felt like this was just not what anybody wanted.
No.
And what we got was what we got. It was just, it wasn't the wrestling, it was just the thought.
So the best part about this is, with this being his show, and I'm going to say right now, and I'll say it out here, Collision was a lot better when he was on there, because Collision now is just absolute dog shit. Nobody fucking watches Collision now. They don't.
They don't know what to do with it.
Because they don't. It's just so inconsistent. It's just matches. And I mean,
hey, what did they ever do with that AEW Dark?
Oh God.
And that Dark Elevation. Man, what did they ever do to those? Man,
yeah, they got rid of those.
I think I stopped watching those a little while ago.
So I have to add this because everybody was laughing at like how could he do this? Well, I mean, it's his show. CM Punk sent Christopher Daniels, who was the head of talent relations, out of friggin' Collision. He sent Matt Hardy out of there because he's on Dynamite. And of course, there's also the point of they're friends with the Young Bucks. And Ryan Nemeth opened his goddamn mouth on Twitter. It's like, you know, softest man ever, fragile, and whatever he said, that dumbass tweet. And CM Punk got right in Ryan Nemeth's face and said, "You got something to say to me?" And Ryan Nemeth didn't say dick. And then Ryan Nemeth has the gall to fucking sue AEW because, you know, he wasn't working all that. It's like Ryan and Punk. It's like, Ryan, shut your ass up. You are on TNA now as the TNA tag champion. Be quiet. Like shut up, Ryan.
You know that's got to be awkward as fuck, considering the WWE TNA relationship.
Oh yeah, I think you'll never see Ryan Nemeth ever on NXT or nothing. No,
he had his chance.
Like, Ryan, you could have. Like, you were in WWE as Bradley Pierce, and then they fired you. And the reason why, because you ain't your brother. And I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to hate on the guy, but you ain't your brother. You are not your brother.
He is a Dollar General bargain bin version of his brother.
Hot damn. Hot damn. Very true, but hot damn.
So, let me get on to the whole thing.
Okay, talk about the promo. Tell me what I'm telling lies.
No, I'm going to talk about the whole, you know, working with, you know, the FTR versus Kenny and the Bucks.
Yeah, what they could have done, yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Punk has said that was what he had wanted to do. He said he was cool with it. FTR were cool with it.
Kenny Omega was cool with it.
Kenny wanted to do it. The Bucks were like children, like, no, we don't want to do it.
Little bitches. They were.
Well, here's the thing. Tony should have been the boss and should have said, hey, this is what is best for business.
We're doing it.
We're doing this. I hear a cat.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's going on here, Paul?
That was my cat tax.
Cat tax.
Hi, Paul's cat.
Hi, Paul's cat.
So just say hi to you. She's laying next to me. Sorry.
Okay.
I will just say this. Like, you would have made so much money off of this. You had, the shit on the internet. People would have tuned in just to see this. You book it as a no rules street fight.
Yeah.
Or anarchy in the arena. The numbers people would have bought the whole fucking show just for this.
I mean, I always go back to 97 when Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart had their fight backstage, and Bret Hart ripped Shawn Michaels' hair out of his head and strips of hair. And Shawn Michaels talks about, being an unsafe work environment. And Vince was like, no, you're not going home. We're going to have you and Bret. We're going to make money off of this, and you're going to feud with each other. Because Vince was not like, you're not going home, Shawn. You're not going home. We're gonna make money off of this. Matt Hardy and Edge in 05. Friggin' that just turned 20 years. Like, with everything that went down there, Vince was like, we're gonna make money off of this. We're gonna turn it into a feud. And they let their frustrations out, and that was it. And they made money for 4 fucking months.
Here's the thing. They fired Matt Hardy because he acted like a petulant child.
Because he took to the internet
and he himself will tell you now he regrets that.
Yes, because you don't take that shit to the internet and make it public. Well, he was like, well, everybody was asking on my website. Matt, tell him to fuck off. What's going on in your personal life does not need to come out the way you did. He handled that very poorly.
And then he couldn't cope with what happened.
Cope!
Did you see what I did there?
I saw what you did.
I got that.
And it was Edge who basically went to Vince and just said, hey, I did this.
Yeah, rehire him, please.
Bring him back.
Yeah.
I still think they made the wrong call with, I think Matt should have gotten that. He should have, come out better than that promo. But again, they had to punish him.
Yes, they did.
Now, having said that, I think it was a huge, one of the greatest missed opportunities, which Mike and I did talk about that on our show. Links are going to be down below.
3.
Cheap Pop number 3. And it's sad because I can only think how good that match would have been.
Oh, it would have been off the chain. Like,
I think after Brawl Out happened, I think the Bucks had it in their mind that he's got to go. And I think they were going to do whatever it takes to get rid of him.
So we then have the Ricky Starks feud, which was great. I thought those two worked well for the short time that they did. And, well, the big picture of this is now where we're going to get to this. So Brawl Out, it's Jungle Boy versus Hook. Jungle Boy is acting erratic because he wants to use glass. And CM Punk, who was right with what he said, told him, hey, guys who rent a cars, they don't want fucking their glass broken when they're sending the car back, because that's happened. And he was correct. He said, you could have done something different. This is my show. Tony has told you no. Friggin' everybody has told you no. The doc's told you no. But you're so stuck in your ways that you want to do it. So then he has that match with Hook on the friggin' what the hell was it? The buy-in. Thank you. The buy-in. Thank you. And then he looks into the camera. Real glass, cry me a river. And this little Nepo baby bitch goes to the back. CM Punk, rightfully so, is pissed. Like, Jack, why do you want to do this indie bullshit? And friggin' just, why do you have to cater to the friggin' smart marks and the sickos and all this shit? And then friggin' Jack Perry and his infinite wisdom goes, well, if you got a problem, why don't you do something about it? And CM Punk is like, dude, no, you don't want to do this. And then Mr. I'll put my hair up and square up Jack Perry, which gives us to the footage now, because Tony had to be a little bitch because of this Ariel Helwani interview, dives at Punk, Punk puts him in a front face lock and like almost like a guillotine, and then it's breaking up by Samoa Joe and Chris.
He just choked him a little.
Yeah, just choked him a little, and it gets broken up by Chris Hero and Samoa Joe and all these people, and then you see Tony Khan, like, he lunges at Tony and he's yelling like, you're a clown, I quit, and that's all you see, and this is what had Tony Khan fear for his fucking life, and we'll get to that in a second, but god damn it. Talk about just when you heard about this, because this was supposed to be their big pay-per-view, Wembley. It was the start of this, and it got overshadowed by this fucking fight because Jack Perry couldn't keep his mouth shut. Dan, I'll go with you first. Dan,
I would say this. This was arguably their biggest pay-per-view of all time.
Oh, and Punk was going against Samoa Joe, who Samoa Joe told him, hey, fuck this. Let's go out and have this fucking match.
And they did.
They did.
Literally start to finish, every match on that fucking show was incredible.
Hell yeah.
It was a great show. I would say next to All In this year, one of their absolute best.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having said that, people blame Punk for this. I don't.
I don't either.
Blame for this is solely on the shoulders of Jack Perry
and Tony Khan.
Well, Jack Perry, should not have. Do this by fine, whatever. But to look in the camera and say real glass, cry me a river. But I'm sorry, this is not fucking high school. You are a grown-ass adult. And where's Jack Perry been lately?
Nowhere. Like the TNT title run that sucked, and then he's been gone.
Like, we've seen him, a handful of times since then?
Yeah, they made a
crying
big deal.
a river at home,
and being the scapegoat at home.
Yeah, being the scapegoat at home.
So I guess the thing of it is, should Punk have acted differently? Absolutely, but and I just remember, after the Ariel Helwani video or interview, you knew Tony was going to respond. You knew it. You knew it was going to happen. And then they say, well, we're going to air the footage from All Out, from All In.
All Out, Shake It All About.
And we're going to show it. And you're thinking like, okay, we're going to see what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hyped it up. You're like, you got to see it. You got to see it. And then you watch and it's just like,
that was it.
This is like, it didn't really show anything.
It showed Punk getting in his face, and then which is exactly how he put it in Ariel Helwani. I got in his face.
I just choked him a little bit.
I just choked him a little bit. He got in my face, and then he, chill, son, and you can't get too close. And then you see what Punk yelled at Tony, and he's not and the monitor shook. All you saw was monitor shook, and this made Tony go on live TV and say, I was in fear for my life, and I was looking out for the safety of my staff.
Let's be real here.
Yeah.
The only reason he even said that initially was to make Punk look bad.
Yeah.
Because he knew where Punk was going.
Oh yeah, he was,
because if you recall, in between All In and All Out, WWE was in Chicago.
Chi-Town, yep.
At the Allstate Arena. And I remember it broke the internet because you're starting to hear CM Punk spotted backstage at Monday Night Raw.
And you see the photo of him talking to Tamina?
Yep. And then you see a photo of him talking to Triple H. And then, we don't know what was talked about. And I think, that was kind of like the first kind of saying, like, hey, is there interest here? And then I guess somehow word got back to Vince, and Vince called Triple H and just said, is he still under contract to them? And I said, yes. And then they said, he's got to go now.
Okay. And also, the Miz even talked about, like, what the hell are you doing here? And they made amends after everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to go on to your point, and I'll get to you, Paul, as of right now.
Let me just kind of finish
yeah, my bad.
There. So, Triple H told me, said, hey, look, you can't stay here. You got to go. Now, I think what initially was going to happen, I think Tony was I don't think initially Tony was going to bring Punk back. I don't. I think he was just going to wait out Punk's contract and just, have him sit at home. I think, this was Punk had two purposes of doing this. One, to see if there was interest in WWE bringing him back. And I think number two, it was to basically, because he knew it would get to Tony, it was to basically say to Tony, hey, you want to cut me? I'll just come back here.
I think he also realized, and also I think he was agitated, much like, and Paul, I'll go into your point with Brawl Out, like you could tell he was visibly pissed when he sat down. I think even with Ariel, when he's talking about they didn't pick me up from the airport, which is completely irresponsible, and I had to take the subway and take the tube to get to the fucking arena, which is so wrong on so many levels, which happened with Stephanie Vaquer when she wrestled Mercedes Moné. They didn't pick her from the airport, and look at fucking Stephanie Vaquer now. It was a whole thing, and I'm sure he was pissed as soon as he got a touchdown in London, England. But yeah,
I'll pay you, but I won't pick you up from the
airport. So I'll go to Paul now. Your thoughts on him being agitated probably that day, and just everything that went on after that.
You have to look at what happened that day. We'll talk about everything that happened with Jack Perry. Jack Perry was a fucking dumbass. Where he's saying things that he didn't need to say. He could have just said, okay, you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe I didn't need to do this indie stuff, all this stuff, and say, hey, look, take the criticism and take the advice of somebody who knows what the hell he's talking about, as opposed to doing what he's did. Walking out, broken glass, cry me a river. All this bullshit, he didn't even need to do that. But what did he do? He ended up doing it anyway. So it's like, you're sitting there shitting on yourself. Not only did you do that, then you went into the back, did all this stuff with him. And yeah, everything he said on Ariel Helwani happened.
It did.
Them doing the whole video thing. Oh yeah, well, we're going to show you exactly the footage of what happened.
And then
you didn't do anything other than proving CM Punk was right. Everything that he said, you proved that he was right. So what if this was, hey, guess what? He was right. Then bringing Jack Perry back as being this whole scapegoat, for CM Punk, it didn't do anything. You didn't elevate him. You just made him look like a fucking dumbass. CM Punk going to WWE was the best thing. Especially after his contract and everything was up with AEW, or them buying out his contract or whatever, or them terminating his contract, after everything. The fact that that Triple H reached out to him last minute, they were at Survivor Series, they were in Chicago. The fact that they had a conversation not just a few hours before that, him showing up secretly, all of a sudden now we start seeing the footage of him backstage with Bayley, with Triple H, with Stephanie, seeing everybody backstage. Then all of a sudden his music hits. And we get the images of him walking. The crowd just went nuts. Of course, of all the people that ended up going nuts was Seth Rollins.
Yes.
and then him coming out into that arena, into the Allstate Arena, and them just
losing
their shit. And I think we got CM Punk guy out there too who was crying. So,
yes.
But hey, it's still real to him, damn it.
Still real to me, damn it. God rest his soul.
Like real American beer.
Real American. God almighty. But no, to go into your point, Paul, it led to one of this whole shebang led to one of the greatest returns in WWE history after 9 years of CM Punk being gone from the company. And you can thank Tony for that, because Tony's dumbass friggin' let this shit happen. And I mean, even I'll go back to Dave for a minute, because Dave was the other one. And he's not like Punk since the whole thing. And he said, if you're just aiming for the 5 stars and you and I are in a different business. And I know Dave did not appreciate that comment on Ariel Helwani's thing, but he told the truth about Dave Meltzer. And Dave Meltzer was trying to make up lies like he lunged at Tony and it was this big fight, which no, Dave, he didn't lunge at him. He pointed his finger and yelled. That's not fear for your life. That's not lunging at somebody. He pointed his finger and yelled like a friggin' what the fuck are you doing, motherfucker?
Mike, the problem with this,
yes, go ahead, Dan,
is if they tried to create this narrative, I have no doubt that Meltzer
poorly.
I've got no doubt that Meltzer and the Bucks or Meltzer and Tony or whoever, there's communication on those sides. No doubts there.
Yeah.
But having said that, they tried to create this narrative of what happened. And here's the problem. Was it plausible that it happened the way that, they said it did? Yeah, absolutely. There was people, Mike, you and I talked, we said that it does kind of look like it did happen that way. And just as an aside, when it happened, I told people, and I mentioned it on the TSK show, which link below, numero 4. Hi, Rob. Hi, Harold. Hi, Mo. But I said it, and Mike, I even said it to you. I was one of the few people that as soon as All Out happened, I said, Punk's going to end up going back to WWE.
And he did.
Everyone told me, they were like, no, he's done. He's done wrestling. I was right. But here, let me just finish this here. You look at Jack Perry. When they brought him back, they could have done so much with him. With this whole scapegoat character. Like, it was getting over in Japan, and they could have done so much with him. They could have made him a main event star. But they dropped the fucking ball. What they should have done, change his finisher. Give him the GTS.
That would make him an uber heel, but They didn't go that route. They did not go that route.
They dropped the ball. And when was the last time he was on fucking Dynamite?
I couldn't even tell you.
1990. Oh.
But no, I think that's the thing. If Tony would have just been a boss, I think CM Punk would still be there. And he wouldn't have made one of the greatest returns ever. I look at it like this, man. When CM Punk is like, hey, I hated this company. It made me sick in 2021. And then it's like, hey, man, I thought Vince McMahon was bad. Now you see fucking how Tony just marks out for everybody. And I thought Vince McMahon was bad. And then the Triple H regime really helped him get back there. And I mean, it even shows growth when Triple H was talking about, I could tell CM Punk didn't like something in creative. So it's like, hey, man, instead of Triple H mentioned on the Stone Cold podcast of not saying how you really feel, tell me what you don't like. And they're talking now. He made amends with Triple H. Him and Shawn Michaels even made amends because him and Shawn had a thing. He made amends with a lot of people, and he's grown. And the dumbasses in AEW, when he's working with people in NXT like the Roxannes, the Cora Jades, the Trick Williams, and everybody has this shining light about him. And then the AEW people, let's be honest, the only camp that didn't like him was the people in the Young Bucks camp, the Brandon Cutlers, the Young Bucks, and all them. Jamie Hayter said you would be nuts to not listen to CM Punk. Ricky Starks didn't have a problem with CM Punk. Darby Allin didn't have a problem with CM Punk. Brody King didn't have a problem with CM Punk. Aleister Black didn't have a problem with CM Punk. It was just the Young Bucks camp, and that's where Dave Meltzer was the poorly, like you mentioned, the narrative, because he made it out like everybody hated CM Punk. It's like, no, they don't
control his narrative.
He couldn't control his narrative. But yeah, I've always said this: the pettiness of having Colt Cabana face Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor title right after that was just to be petty and to stick it to Punk. And for me, that was just you chose Colt Cabana over CM Punk. And no disrespect to Colt Cabana, I like Colt Cabana, but the only reason why he was successful because he was with CM Punk. Let's be fucking real. And I like Colt Cabana. But yeah, if Tony would have just been a
Hi, Scotty Goldman.
Hi, Scotty Goldman. Scotty Goldman. If Tony Khan would have just been a boss and not acted like a mark for this man, he would still be in AEW. So with that being said, do y'all have any final words on the whole CM Punk thing?
DC, I'll let you go first.
Let you go first. Okay.
2 simple words. And it's a chant we've been hearing a lot in NXT. Tony fumbled.
Okay, Paul.
You know, at the end of the day, we could say Tony Khan learned a valuable lesson. And it wasn't that, yeah, he fumbled everything and yada yada yada. But I think something that he needed to be punched in the mouth and realize that this company is his. It's not the Young Bucks, it's not Kenny Omega's, it's his company. So he needs to be an owner of the company, not a VP, not an EVP, not anything else. He needs to be the owner and take responsibility for everything that happens within his company, good or bad. At the end of the day, we come to this company exactly like we used to do with Vince, and always say the exact same thing. Vince, it's Vince's company, and everything runs through Vince. That's exactly through everything. It has to run through Tony, and Tony needed this punch in the mouth to understand that it's not that you can't rely on the Young Bucks. And yes, I'm not saying that they're not good at doing what they do. I'm not saying that they can't give input. Much like Vince had a creative team. I'm not saying that he ever listened to the creative team. I'm just saying that, yeah, he can get the ideas from the EVPs, and help them out. And one thing I've said on all of our shows is that Tony needs to rely on the experience that he has in his company, the experience of the people that are in his company. At the end of the day, he can listen to it, and then he's still the head honcho in this company that needs to do what he feels is best for his company. Unfortunately, he had to learn this lesson the hard way.
Agreed. So with that being said, Tony, I'll pay you. Tony, enough of that. Be a boss. It's okay. Sometimes you got to put your foot down. You have to be able to put your foot down and be a boss. That is the best takeaway from all.
Or as my wife says, you need to put your big panties on, your big girl panties on, and do what you need to do as a big girl or as a big boy. Put your big boy undies on and do big boy things.
Having been in kind of like a managerial position before, and having to have had these conversations with people, it's not fun having to have these difficult conversations with people.
No, not at all.
But it's a mark of true leadership when you can have these conversations with people and just say, look, here's what you did. Here's why this does not work.
And don't do it again.
Now, with everything happening, it's unfortunate because the whole FTR and Punk versus the Elite, that could have been one of the greatest storylines in professional wrestling history. And all because the Bucks didn't want to do it. Kenny's even said he was down to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been even said that Punk and Kenny, they're cool. Like, they've got no issues with each other. Now, are they inviting the other one over to the barbecue? Probably not. Are they on Christmas card list? Probably not.
No, come on. Why not?
But see, here's the thing. I had read a story somewhere. Said that there's not much left for the Bucks to do in AEW, and their careers are, they're not getting any younger.
Yeah, they're not the Young Bucks anymore. They're going to be the old Bucks.
The old Bucks.
The middle Bucks.
The middle Bucks.
And it said, what if, their contracts go up, they end up making a run, one brief run in WWE. I could see it. But see, here's the thing. Triple H is going to tell them, guys, look, whatever happened with you guys and Phil is done. You will not do that here.
Yeah, I
will not do that here.
It also kind of equates to me like if they bring Britt Baker in with that current situation, like Britt, you're not going to do that shit you did in AEW. Like you have to tell people. You have to put
Britt is a different story. Britt is a completely different vibe and a very, very. She could be professional if she wanted to.
She wanted to,
and I'm pretty sure. And as they always say, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Haha, CM Punk.
Yeah.
But
Ricky Stark.
It is. Now that Vince is gone, it is. Because it's not the same company anymore. Now, granted, yeah, you got to. We'll get into the whole TKO bullshit. Them owning it, but that's an entire other show. But all I'm saying is that
we'll put the link to Mike's YouTube channel down below.
4, 5, something. Go ahead.
But you get what I'm saying, though. I mean, it doesn't. If somebody else from AEW decides to come to WWE, it's because they want to come and they want to experience what it's like to be over there.
Right.
And Mariah May.
Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill.
And
Ricky Stark.
Lexus King.
There's
gonna be more.
Ethan Page. I love it. But yeah, no, good.
Just looking at it, it's more people are gonna come over. It's gonna happen. And honestly, I would not be shocked to see Britt Baker at the Royal Rumble.
No, me either, man.
I think Royal Rumble. I think there's three in the Women's Rumble you're gonna see.
Okay.
You're gonna see Britt Baker. You're gonna see Saraya Paige,
Mousc,
and you're gonna see AJ Lee.
I mean, we shall see, but I will say this, y'all. I mean, to really put like a bow on it, it's just like be a boss, take care of your shit. And also, now you have people like Dan mentioned, like Tony, you got people leaving your company to go to WWE when it used to be the other way around because people were tired of Vince that they wanted to go to your company. Now more people want to leave your company and come over to the WWE because WWE has the working relationship with TNA. AJ Styles is going to be on fucking Slammiversary tomorrow, which we'll get into on the weekly review. But fucking this is what we're getting now. We have the AAA relationship. We have the Pro Wrestling Noah relationship. And I mean, AEW still has CMLL and New Japan, but they're opening more doors that are not forbidden and really opening what we get to see more. See what I did there with what we get to see. And it's exciting. And your company, and no disrespect, and I'll say this, it's getting better with some certain aspects, but you still have issues there that really need to be fixed. And that's the problem. And I think they're going to get better, hopefully, but I look at it like this, man. You had a lot of things that were good from your inception before, but when CM Punk left and Cody left, that's where we really saw a turn and ship and AEW. So,
and that was the ball that started rolling down the hill,
right?
For them was the minute that Cody left.
And I'll even say it. I think had he not died, I very well could see Brody Lee having gone back. Would have gone back to WWE.
Oh God, with the Wyatt Six stuff, I could definitely see that him and Rowan.
Imagine him as part of the Wyatt Six,
dude. Friggin' Harper and Rowan, Gacy and Loomis and Nikki Cross. Hell yeah!
Just imagine it. Imagine him on his own in WWE. Because I'll tell you, there was a number of years back. I went to a house show in a little old Elmira, New York. Really small town, Mike. I'm sure you've probably heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a little arena there, and it's about 2-ish hours from Rochester, New York, where Brody was from. The reaction that he got as a face, as a face, was huge. And to me, this is still one of the coolest stories that I have ever seen as a wrestling fan. So that night, or that show, he wrestled Eric Rowan. And after the match, after, Brody won, he brought little Brody. Well, he was little at the time, not so much anymore. He brought Brody Jr. into the ring, put him on his shoulders, and to me, that was a fucking cool moment. And I could see Harper back in WWE had he not passed.
Yeah, and I mean, under this different regime of Triple H to what we have with Vince, like the highest he ever gotten was like Intercontinental Champion. That only lasts
for a cup of coffee.
But yeah, it's just, I think with this new regime,
because Vince wanted him to speak with a Southern accent, and he's
I'm from Rochester, New York. But that's the thing, man.
You're from Louisiana.
God damn it! But
he's
that's
like a couple haters.
And he's showing up at Summer.
I know. We'll get to that on the follow-up from Weekly Review, but I think the best way to sum it up is, man, be a boss. And man, Tony, you let one of your hottest...
Be a man, Tony!
Be a man, Tony, be a man. And you let one of your top stars go, and then a lot of people followed. So with that being said, y'all, tell me when we're telling lies, because we told a lot of truths and no lies when it comes to CM Punk's run in AEW. So before we close this out, Paul will actually be, and I'm going to say this right now, Paul will be back with us on season 6, and we're actually going to make it the season finale. We're going to talk about AWA Super Clash 3. Yeah, we're making you the season finale just because of season 6. I'm already going to put that.
Because you are Paul
Morales. And we'll touch upon
RWT
Dead. And we're going to talk about AWA Super Clash 3 because Moses watched that show, and hopefully that comes out. But we're going to watch it ourselves and talk about this event.
And Mo, this is our invitation to you. Come join us. This is your official invitation. Come join us.
Mind you, I didn't want him to watch Super Clash 1. I didn't want him to watch Super Clash 2, but Super Clash 3, I just thought it was kind of interesting because of the card and some of the names that were on the card. So we'll go through that at the time that we get into this whole AWA Super Clash 3 pay-per-view and at the season finale. So
yeah, the season finale of season 6. So next season, Paul, you will be our season finale. But Dan, we are coming close to the season 5 finale of Uncaged as our next episode, and episode 10. We made it 11 because we did the Sabu episode with Rob, which you could check out. Cheap Pop number 6. So best and worst gimmick matches is our next show, Dan, for you and I. And we're going to be talking about some great gimmicks. Then we're going to be talking about worst gimmicks like the Kennel from Hell with Al Snow and the Big Boss Man. Pepper.
Or the eye for an eye match, which we just had the anniversary of that just recently.
Oh dear God. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. So stay tuned for that next episode. So Paul, before we close this
pandemic era, we're crazy.
And one of the weirdest gimmick matches was the Indian strap match, which you could see at the end of season number 6, right here on this show.
Look at this guy. Number 6, yes.
Number 7.
Number 7, thank you. So, Paul, before we close this out, you'll be back for season 6. Where can we follow you on your social medias? The floor is yours.
Name is right there, the Dead Man of RWT. You can find me on Twitter. Of course, you could go into my link in my bio, which you can find my link tree to all my social media, my YouTube, my TikTok, my Pornhub, my
RedTube.
Yeah, that one too. No, but you could find all my social media sitting there in my Twitter bio. But of course, you can find my link tree down below because that guy way over there on the other end, my brother from another mother, that motherfucker over there is gonna have it down below because he loves me.
We love you, Paul.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Daniel Grimm is my other brother from another mother. Where can we find you?
Mike is going to put links down below. Got some cool stuff coming. I think people's going to like. And Mike and I, you're going to want to check out our show when we discuss the worst
and best gimmick matches.
Kennel from Hell. I seem to remember a match, the Mountie versus Big Boss Man, SummerSlam.
Yeah.
90, was that 91?
Yeah, I think that was
it was one of them, and then I remember it was the taser on the pole, the taser on the pole.
Taser on the pole.
And then the loser got arrested or some shit.
Yeah, and the loser got arrested and got taken away.
Jailhouse match. Yeah. God.
Entertaining match.
Or there was, who was that? I think it was Dustin Rhodes versus Barry Darso.
Oh, the Blacktop Bully, friggin' the bunkhouse. Yeah.
In the they were in the back of us wrestling in the back of a semi that was going down the highway.
Yes.
Or the backstage brawl with Roddy Piper and Goldust.
Oh, the backlot brawl from friggin'
Yeah, backlot brawl.
And then Goldust.
That one was one of that one. I have to admit that they recorded it. Then they ended up having the match. That was awesome, but it was funny.
Cool. It was funny.
And of course, one of my favorites, the Boneyard match, which up until that day they never explained to us. Cat tax.
Cat tax. There he is.
They never explained to us what the Boneyard match was even gonna be. But it's like, hey, it's a Boneyard match.
But that was what made it very, very interesting. The fact that we had no idea what the hell it was. It was like the Firefly Funhouse. All we knew was that there was a Firefly Funhouse. Where the hell was this at? Because I would have went too.
I don't think they knew. I don't even think they knew.
No.
Okay,
but
so again,
I remember right. There was an interview with Taker where Taker basically said the initial plan was for it to basically be like Buried Alive match.
And it almost ended up that.
It almost ended up like that. But yeah, we'll touch base on that in the next episode. Dan, do you have any other plugs before we go to my plugs over here?
Definitely not hair plugs.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so
you know what your Christmas present's gonna be? The next time you shave your head and you have a completely bald, you're gonna end up getting one of those palm frickin' shavers, and you're just gonna sit there all damn day, every day, cutting your hair, or every couple of days. I don't want you to get razor burn.
God. So I will say this.
Hold on, one more thing. Michael, my other brother from another mother. Where can we find you?
S&M Network shows on YouTube, StephenMikeShow.com, LFCfights.com, SM Show 1, MCL92 on Twitter, Larkin_92M, Larkin MB on Instagram. This YouTube channel features Uncaged, and towards the end of season 5, like Dan mentioned, we got 2 more. We have season 6 coming up with Paul. That's going to be fun for that finale. We have On the Mic with Mike, Pop Culture History Podcast. We have the Stephen Mike Show. We have Deep Into the Heart of Wrestling with Nicola and Rob. We have the Weekly Review. We have so much stuff coming on this fine channel. And with that being said, stay tuned, be on the lookout, because we have the Weekly Review coming up in a couple days, which will touch upon the aftermath.
Bill Goldberg.
We'll touch upon Bill Goldberg, the aftermath of Slammiversary, and so much more. So with that being said, for Paul Morales, for Daniel Crimmins, my name is Mike Larkin. This concludes another edition of Uncaged. And of course,
Bill Goldberg.
I'll pay you, Bill Goldberg. Now, Bill, you'll probably see you in AEW soon. So, I love you, Bill.